How my amazing resilience turned a hidden $99 million heist into an inspiring victory. Sarah Thompson stood at the foot of her late father's attic ladder, a flood of uncertainty coursing through her veins. The thought of what lay hidden above made her stomach twist. She was a good mother, a struggling teacher, and a woman on the edge of sanity. A secret was buried up there, one that could shatter everything she had carefully built after the death of a man she hardly knew. Should she climb? The air felt heavy, pressing against her like the expectations of her students and the demands of her children. With a deep breath, she dragged herself up each step, the silence amplifying the internal chaos surging within. Dust motes danced in the sparse sunlight filtering through a grimy window, illuminating boxes of memories she had chosen to forget. Her father's laughter echoed in her mind, a bittersweet reminder of a childhood meant to be filled with joy but littered with disappointments. Each item she unearthed was a needle to her conscience, a taunt of choices long buried. Then she stumbled upon the ledger. The moment she opened its yellowed pages, her heart raced. The figures inside told a shocking story, a $99 million heist, a community's dreams hijacked by corporate greed. Was this the legacy he wanted to leave? The weight of her discovery crushed her. Conflicting emotions bubbled beneath her surface. Could she honor her father's intentions by revealing this secret? The thought of exposing him sent her into a spiral. What if this revelation could endanger her children? The idealistic dreamer in her screamed for justice, battling against an innate instinct to bury the past and shield them from its darkness. Every tick of the clock echoed the urgency backing her into a corner. She thought of her children, their innocence hanging in the balance. How could she face them when an ugly truth sat coiled, ready to strike? Before she could process her growing dread, a flicker of courage ignited. She thought of Mr. Hastings, her brilliant former professor, who had always encouraged her dreams of completing her degree. She had stayed strong for her kids, yet now the prospect of being both a daughter seeking closure and a mother protecting the future sent shockwaves of tension through her. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With her mind racing through the implications, Sarah found herself pacing across the attic floor, heart in her throat. The ledger lay like a ticking bomb. What would happen if she tried to expose the truth? What peril would her family face? As the sunlight shifted, casting eerie shadows, Sarah felt the walls of her world closing in. She was torn between a longing for justice and a desperate need to safeguard her children's future. Just as the thought solidified, a noise from below shattered her focus. A footstep, heavy and deliberate. Sarah's muscles tensed. The ground felt unsteady, as though she stood atop a precipice ready to crumble. Who knew she was up here? Panic set in. What had she awakened? Each heartbeat clamored for her attention, and every whisper of wind outside spun tales of danger. She had become an unexpected player in a chilling game, and now the stakes were impossibly high. Would she dare reveal the truth or choose to shield her family from the shadows of a legacy threatening to consume them? The answer loomed ever closer as she felt the room around her begin to spin. The footstep reverberated through Sarah's mind, igniting a primal instinct to flee. She felt trapped, boxed in by her father's legacy and the weight of the ledger. Each pulse of her heart whispered of danger, the attic air thick with secrets that had been buried for far too long. Could she risk everything, including her children's safety, for a truth that might not even be worth revealing? Her legs trembled with indecision as that single footstep transformed into a quiet shuffling, creeping up the staircase. Panic morphed into clarity. She needed to act fast. If someone was searching for answers or possibly coming for her, she couldn't let them find the ledger. She glanced around the chaotic space, her thoughts racing. The boxes surrounding her, filled with memories and remnants of a past she wanted to escape, now seemed like potential hiding spots for incriminating evidence. In a flicker of urgency, she grabbed the ledger, tucking it under her arm. She knew she couldn't leave it behind. It was more than just a book. It was a key to understanding her father, to discovering who he truly was and what he intended to leave behind. Her instincts told her that revealing this truth could either topple the facade of her carefully reconstructed life or start a revolution within her. The shuffling resumed, louder now, more determined. An unsolicited dread swept over her. Breathing deeply, she scanned the attic, her senses heightened. She saw an old trunk. Perhaps it could conceal the ledger until she figured things out. Sarah darted toward it, her heart hammering against her ribs. The trunk creaked as she opened it, the sound echoing like a death knell in the silence of the attic. She shoved it inside and quickly closed the lid, praying no one had heard her. Another footstep echoed, closer now. She felt a chilling anticipation constrict her throat, and a sense of resolute purpose began to settle in. Breathing deeply, she scanned the attic, her senses heightened. She saw an old trunk. Perhaps it could conceal the ledger until she figured things out. Sarah darted toward it, her heart hammering against her ribs. The trunk creaked as she opened it, the sound echoing like a death knell in the silence of the attic. She shoved it inside and quickly closed the lid, praying no one had heard her. Another footstep echoed, closer now. She felt a chilling anticipation constrict her throat, and a sense of resolute purpose began to settle in. Maybe it was time to confront whoever was waiting for her. Was it possible someone was retrieving the buried secrets just as she was? Possibly related to her father's life in the nefarious acts. With her heart racing, Sarah stepped back towards the attic entrance, her mind swirling with the duality of fear and determination. She could cover her tracks or confront the source of this impending confrontation. But then, the good mother in her momentarily silenced the inner warrior. Was she ready to put not just herself, but her children's futures on the line? As the footstep paused, she took a breath and emerged from the shadows, peering carefully down the staircase. A figure loomed at the threshold, the silhouette casting an imposing outline against the light. "You shouldn't be up here, Sarah." The voice was deep, almost familiar, yet distant enough to raise alarms in her mind. "Who are you?" she snapped, forcing her voice to stay steady even as her insides churned. That query hung in the air like a weight, and Sarah felt the tension curl tighter around her chest. The time had come to face the ghosts she never wanted to confront, the truth her father had hidden, and the consequences of what knowledge could unleash. As she braced herself for the revelation, another lingering question gnawed at her. Did she possess the strength to withstand the answers waiting on the other side of her fear? Would this revelation be the catalyst for her transformation or lead her to an irreversible crisis? The answer danced on the precipice of her next choice. The figure shifted, stepping into the faint light from the staircase, revealing a face that sent shockwaves through Sarah's memory. It was Michael, her father's estranged business partner, once a familiar presence in her childhood, but now a specter of nightmares. His expression was unreadable, masking a tumult of emotions she could only guess at. "Michael," she breathed, both bewildered and wary. The fragments of her past collided violently in her mind, the innocent laughter of family gatherings mixed with memories of hurried whispers behind closed doors. "What are you doing here?" "I heard you were looking for answers," he said, his voice eerily calm. "And I came to help you find them." The invitation hung heavy in the air. What could he possibly offer, the man who helped engineer the secrets her father took to the grave? Her heart was still racing, adrenaline flooding her system as she grappled with the implications of his words. Could she trust him? "I don't need your help," she retorted, though a flicker of doubt crept into her words. The ledger burned beneath her arm, a tangible reminder of the truths she sought to uncover. If he came with knowledge about her father's legacy, it might unravel the very fabric of her understanding. "Think carefully," Michael replied, leaning against the doorframe, his posture relaxed but his eyes sharp. "You're standing on the edge of a chasm of knowledge. What you find in that ledger could either save or doom you." She considered his words, the challenge lurking behind his tone. "Why would you care? You walked away from the family when it mattered most." "I cared because your father asked me to protect you," he admitted, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "He didn't want this burden to fall on your shoulders, but here we are." The truth lashed at Sarah like a cold wind. Her father's concern felt almost like a knife twisting in her gut. Was she truly prepared to embrace the legacy of decisions made without her consent? The balance of power had shifted, and she felt herself teetering on the edge of a decision that might redefine her existence. "Protect me?" she scoffed, remembering the isolation her father's secrets had thrust upon her like a heavy shroud. "What did you all really protect me from? Lies?" A flicker of regret flashed across Michael's face. More like an avalanche of chaos. The truth behind that ledger isn't just about your father, it's about your future too. For a moment, Sarah stood still, her resolve trembling in the face of a revelation she had never fully grasped. The stakes felt insurmountably high. The ledger could unravel the dreams she had built for her children, yet its secrets could forge a path of clarity. As Michael's words echoed in her mind, she felt the brewing storm within her. Was she ready to turn the key? Before she could formulate an answer, an urgent noise erupted from downstairs, a crash followed by muffled voices. An instinctual alarm blared in her mind. "They're looking for us," she gasped, adrenaline unleashing a fierce urgency that drowned out her fears. "Then we don't have much time." Michael moved swiftly, his demeanor shifting from casual to commanding. "We need to go, now. If they find you with that ledger, everything will collapse." As he gestured toward the attic's narrow window, Sarah's heart raced. She was poised on the breath of a choice that would cement her path. Would she trust the man who had been part of her past and run into the unknown? Or would she stand her ground and confront the chaos head-on? Each second pulsed with potential, each beat an echo of possibilities that could undermine her previous convictions. The answers she sought were tantalizingly close, yet the consequences loomed like dark shadows. The decision loomed before her like a precipice, but the invitation to leap into the unknown beckoned with an intensity she could no longer ignore. Would the truth forge a new identity for her, or would the consequences of her choices threaten the very essence of who she had become? As she looked into Michael's eyes, the weight of her father's legacy pressed against her resolve, guiding her next step. The answers lay ahead, and the moment arrived for her to face them, come what may. The noise downstairs intensified, the unmistakable sound of shuffling feet and hurried whispers drawing nearer. Sarah's instinct screamed at her to flee, but an unfamiliar determination ignited within. Facing Michael, she would not allow fear to dictate her next move. "What do you mean by protect me?" she pressed, urgency sharpening her voice. "What chaos are you talking about?" Michael's gaze intensified, locking onto hers with an intensity that bore into her soul. "Your family was involved in something much larger than you can imagine. Your father thought keeping you away from the truth would shield you, but now it's time to confront it, to reclaim your narrative." Sarah felt the weight of his words settle heavy in her chest. The prospect of confronting her father's hidden life filled her with a mix of dread and fierce resolve. "Reclaim my narrative," she echoed. The phrase clung to her like the ledger under her arm, a tangible embodiment of secrets sewn into the fabric of her family history. "Trust me," Michael urged, his tone earnest, yet laced with the unshakable burden of regret. I know what you're capable of. You were always stronger than you realized. His words, though meant as encouragement, ignited an internal conflict. Did she really possess the strength required to face the ghosts of her past? They were not merely phantoms of her childhood. They were stark reminders of the man who had shaped her life in ways she struggled to comprehend. As the noise grew louder, Sarah caught a fleeting glimpse of clarity. She had spent too long living in the shadows of her father's choices. Michael, once a stranger, now presented an opportunity, a chance to understand the roots of this chaos and possibly reclaim her own agency. "Let's go," she said finally, and the trepidation in her voice was replaced by steely resolve. Michael nodded, his expression shifting from a supportive ally to a man preparing for battle against the past. They hurried towards the window, Sarah's heart pounding in rhythm with her racing thoughts. Jumping into the unknown was terrifying, but remaining stagnant was no longer an option. The ledger became a symbol, not just of hidden wealth, but as a key to unlocking the truth she had long evaded. As they crouched on the sill, she cast a final glance back at the dim attic, filled with echoes of laughter now tainted by revelations she's yet to face. The first wave of clarity consumed her, birthing a curiosity to understand what lay beyond the physical escape. The ground beneath them beckoned, cold and uncertain, as they leaped into the night. Each moment propelled them further into the dark, with only the urgency of their steps guiding them. The chase pulsed with electric energy, igniting both fear and exhilaration. But more than that, it ignited a fire within Sarah, a determination to break free from the confines of familial expectations and seize control. "I need to know about the ledger," she demanded as they wove through shadowy alleys, adrenaline sharpening her focus. "It's not just about the money, it's about your father's decisions, the company he kept, the deals he made. And yes, there's a fortune hidden there, but it comes with risks," Michael cautioned, casting a glance over his shoulder, always vigilant. "Risks I'm willing to take," Sarah asserted, conviction flooding her voice. Perhaps for the first time, she felt the power of agency blooming within her, growing stronger with every word. As they turned the corner, Michael stopped abruptly, pulling Sarah into the recess of a nearby doorway and instinctively actioned to a sound that echoed around them. There was no mistaking it. A car door slammed not far behind, heavy footsteps scraping on gravel. The realization dawned on her. The chaos was not merely a metaphor. It was all around her, encroaching like a tangible threat. Would she have the strength to unearth the truth that had been buried for so long? "Prepare yourself," Michael whispered, his eyes scanning the street. "The path forward is fraught with danger. But know this, the moment you confront these truths, you gain unimaginable power over your future." He stepped back into the shadows, urging her to do the same. And as she faded into the darkness, Sarah caught her breath. The exhilarating mix of fear and empowerment coursed through her veins. Her moment of transformation was upon her. She held tightly onto the ledger, her pulse quickening as she prepared for the storm ahead. The truth awaited, but it was clearer than ever. She would rise to face whatever came next. But did she have the finesse to navigate the storm unscathed? And more importantly, could she emerge not just a survivor, but a victor? The shadows engulfed them, cloaking their hurried breaths and racing hearts as they crouched in silence. Sarah's mind raced. Thoughts of her father's hidden life flickered like a film reel, each memory abruptly cropping up, jarring her with unasked questions. She could almost hear his voice echoing in her mind, reassuring yet deceptive, telling her to stay oblivious, to play the good daughter. But that was in the past, a version of herself that had crumbled into dust under the weight of revelations and new resolve. "Stay low," Michael whispered, his voice a mere breath against the night. The tension between them crackled with urgency. Every moment felt like an exhale suspended in time, waiting to be released. As they broke from their cover, an electric thrill coursed through Sarah. This was more than just a physical escape. She was finally stepping away from the comfortable ignorance her father had imposed on her. Each stride they took into the unknown felt like shedding layers of an unwanted identity, unveiling a woman brimming with potential. In her mind, The ledger had transformed from a mere notebook of transactions into a blueprint of her life. What had once seemed irrelevant now pulsated with meaning. Each entry a vital piece of a puzzle she was determined to solve. Immediately, questions mounted. What dealings had tangled her family in this web? What sacrifices had been made for wealth that until now had only been a twisted shadow of her upbringing? As they navigated alleyways strewn with the debris of forgotten lives, Sarah stole glances at Michael. He was a force of nature, confidence radiating from him with each step. Questions, those nagging intrusions of doubt, rushed through her head. Could she truly face whatever lay at the end of their path? Did she have the psychological fortitude to confront her father's legacy head-on, to expose the fractures in their family's foundation? Where's your focus? Michael's voice pulled her back into the moment, a tether in her thoughts. It's vital you drive this process. Where we're going may change everything. Clarity bloomed like a wildflower within her, pushing aside the lingering tendrils of doubt. I'm ready, she asserted, surprising herself with the depth of her conviction. This isn't just about the money or the chaotic past. It's about unearthing who I really am. With newfound determination, she moved forward, suddenly enveloped in a palpable sense of agency. Her vision sharpened like a camera focusing on a bright, revealing moment. And for the first time, she could see the edges of her own potential unfurling. Trepidation faded with each step. She understood now that the chaos surrounding her could be disentangled with strength, and she had that strength, ready to bloom like a rising phoenix. Then, in a chilling moment, the world around her shifted. The shadows dancing nearby gave way to unmistakable figures emerging with stark clarity. Another group, moving stealthily, appeared from behind the parked cars. Hunters, perhaps, or foes ready to reclaim their territory. For the first time, Sarah felt the real thread weighing down on her. The stakes were no longer an abstract idea. They were here, in the flesh, an imminent confrontation foreshadowing both peril and potential. Move! Michael grabbed her arm just as the figures rushed toward them, their intentions unreadable but undeniably dangerous. Adrenaline surged as they darted onto a busy street, the glow of the moonlight chasing them down, as if the very universe sought to witness their liberation from the past. Sarah's heart thrummed, a fierce cadence against the crescendo of panic and exhilaration. "Tell me what I need to know about my father," she shouted over the din of the city, her voice straining against a swell of emotions. "The ledger is just the beginning, Sarah," Michael replied, casting a worried look over his shoulder. "It goes deeper. Your father wasn't just involved, he was at the helm. Every choice, every consequence, it can change you. You must trust yourself fully." Suddenly, clarity surged anew as Sarah recognized her pivotal role in this transformation. This was her redemption arc. She was not destined to remain a passive figure shrouded by her father's secrets. But in this race against the encroaching shadows, would she be bold enough to face her past and emerge whole? The imminent clash loomed ahead. Incalculable danger, blended with unimaginable empowerment, awaited her. With fierce determination coursing through her veins, she embraced the thrill of the chase, daring to confront what lay ahead. The truth was within reach, but could she maneuver through the chaos and embrace her new fate? As they sprinted across the street, the cacophony of the city swallowed them, horns blaring, voices rising, life moving on carelessly, unaware of the drama unfolding at its core. Sarah's pulse raced faster than her feet could carry her, the adrenaline pushing her forward, eclipsing the panic threatening to take hold. She could not afford to falter. The path to her identity lay entwined with her father's past, and each step was a vow to her own potential. "Take a left," Michael shouted, steering her down an alleyway where the smell of decay mingled with the hint of something fresh, a breath of possibility amid the grit. They turned sharply, the noise of the street fading behind them, replaced by a sudden stillness that enveloped the concrete walls, offering a deceptive sense of safety. "Where do we go now?" she gasped, trying to catch her breath. "There's a warehouse where we can regroup and plan," he answered, scanning their surroundings, the resolve in his features unwavering. "From there, we'll head for the files. Your father's connections run deep, and so does the information he kept hidden. Sarah nodded, her heart still hammering, but steadier now. She could envision the files, pieces of her history stacked behind closed doors. Each folder may reveal the truths that had eluded her for so long, the debts, the alliances, the sacrifices made in pursuit of wealth that felt tainted. Exposing it all could mean tearing down the veil her family had draped over their lives. "Are you all right?" Michael's voice brought her back, concern creasing his brow. She was caught somewhere between exhilaration and fear. It's hard to believe this is my life," she admitted, struggling to articulate the whirlpool of emotions inside her. "For so long, I've just been the good daughter, the one who didn't ask questions. And now, what do you want?" Michael pressed, his gaze intense and unwavering. The question hung in the air between them, a challenge rippling through the stillness. She felt the weight of the ledger's revelations, the knowledge that this was her moment to break free from the narrative imposed on her. "I want to understand my father, not the man everyone thought he was, but who he really was. And I want to find my own strength." Sunlight began to seep through the cracks of the alleyway, illuminating the edges of her resolve. For the first time, she felt the contours of herself intertwined with purpose. She would take control, not just of her life, but of the legacy that threatened to define her. It was not just her father's story anymore. It was hers to rewrite, to reshape with authenticity rather than driven by fear. As they reached the warehouse, Sarah's instincts sharpened. The door creaked ominously as they entered, a hushed interior that contrasted sharply with the chaos outside. Dust motes danced in the dim light, whispering secrets of the past. She felt a sense of destiny anchoring her like the heavy machinery that surrounded them. "Let's check the safe in the back," Michael suggested, leading the way, his confidence a steady push against her uncertainty. "Whatever we find will lead us to answers, potentially even the people who were involved in your father's dealings." Each step they took reverberated within her, a reminder of the power of choice. With every inch closer to the safe, she recalled Michael's earlier words about trust. She would not only need to trust him, but herself in this endeavor. She was capable of navigating the complexities of her lineage, of confronting those who had thrived in shadows. As they approached the heavy door of the safe, an unsettling thought gnawed at her. Were they ready for what lay inside? Would the truth bolster her resolve, or would it shatter what little she thought she understood about herself? With a trembling hand, Sarah reached for the handle. It was time to embrace both her father's legacy and her own burgeoning identity. Whatever awaited them beyond that door could reshape their futures. The clicking of the safe's mechanism echoed ominously, a prelude to the revelations impeding the threshold of her life. What truth awaited her inside? Would she emerge empowered or broken once more? She pulled the door open, breath held tight, a pivotal moment poised on the edge of discovery, one that could transform everything she thought she knew. The heavy door of the safe swung open, the creaking sound breaking the tense silence in the warehouse. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she peered inside, the dark confines revealing a mix of files and dusty artifacts. Memories, so long buried, began to unearth themselves in her mind, their tendrils tugging at her spirit. "Grab that folder on the right," Michael said, his voice cutting through her reverie. He reached in, pulling out a weathered file that appeared to be splintered and barely held together by yellowing rubber bands. As he handed it to her, she felt a jolt of electric anticipation course through her. This was more than just a collection of papers. It was her history. As she opened the folder, the smell of old paper and ink filled her lungs, bringing with it a rush of emotions. Scanning the pages, her heart dropped. There it was, documented evidence of her father's misdeeds, connections to shady deals, names of people she had only heard whispered in family gatherings, and accounts so ludicrously large that they twisted her stomach. The reality of her father's legacy was more complex than she had ever imagined. "This is what you were looking for?" Michael asked, noting the tension overtaking her. "No," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "This is why I was afraid to look." They stood there for a moment, the electric tension dampened by the weight of the folder in her hands. Sarah ran her fingers across the names, her mind racing. Was this what it meant to confront her roots? Was she ready to dive into the abyss of her father's choices, reflecting unforgivable decisions and destructive alliances? "You need to think about what this means, Sarah," Michael urged, his tone both cautious and encouraging. "If we want to expose this, we have to be ready for the backlash. It's dangerous." "No," she interrupted, her words solid and resolute like the building around them. "What's dangerous is ignoring where I come from. If I don't claim this, I allow it to define me without my consent." The resolve coursing through her was liberating, but also terrifying. She realized then it wasn't just about her father's legacy. It was about her own. She would not merely inherit the burdens of his past. She would face them head on, carving space for her own truth. "They're coming for you, aren't they?" Michael asked, stepping closer, his brows knitted with concern. "People who want to keep this hidden?" "I can't live under a shadow anymore," Sarah replied fiercely. "It's my turn to shine light on the truth, no matter how daunting it is. This isn't just about clearing my father's name." She hesitated, the weight of that thought settling heavily. "It's about discovering who I am underneath it all." With a newfound sense of purpose, she rummaged through the folder, exposing even deeper layers of her father's entanglements. Each page told a story not just of deceit, but of power and the thirst for control that had pervaded their family. As she stood in the dim light, Sarah realized she was no longer that timid daughter, afraid of looking too closely at the dark corners of her existence. The woman before her was determined to unravel the complexities of the past, and with it, shape her future. "Let's keep digging," she said decisively. "There's got to be more, and I want to find it, no matter what." Michael nodded, a look of firm respect lining his features. Together, they began to catalog the files, making mental notes of leads they could pursue. This was not merely a scavenger hunt for papers. This was a mission that would redefine her, illuminating her path ahead with every piece of knowledge they uncovered. But as they worked, a sudden noise echoed from outside, a distant shout that broke through the warehouse's eerie stillness. Sarah paused, the world narrowing down to the reality that their actions had repercussions. "Do you think they know we're here?" Michael asked, his voice lowering. "I don't know," Sarah replied, her heart racing again, pumping an invigorating adrenaline that clouded her vision with both fear and anticipation. The stakes were rising, and she was squarely in the crosshairs of a battle that was far more significant than just her father's legacy. Now, justice, truth, and discovery lay before her like an uncharted territory. The moment was chasing them forward, but could they outrun the shadows that lingered just beyond the door? Time was slipping away, and Sarah knew they had to act quickly. With determination etched on her face, she prepared for whatever came next. The truth awaited her, but how far was she willing to go to unveil it? The faint sounds of footsteps grew louder outside, sharp and frantic. Sarah's pulse quickened, each beat a reminder of the urgency that now surrounded her. She glanced at Michael, whose expression shifted from concern to resolute determination. The files in her hands felt heavier, burdened not just with her father's deeds, but with the immediate threat of exposure. "Okay, we need a plan," she whispered, her voice strained but clear. The walls of the warehouse loomed around them, a mixture of stifling pressure and unyielding support. The past surged within her mind, demanding acknowledgement, but now mingling with a fear she hadn't anticipated. Michael nodded. "We can't just sit here. If they come in and find us, we won't let that happen. We need to secure these files first." The thought of losing the evidence felt insurmountable. Each paper was a piece of her father's legacy, yes, but it was also her stern reminder of her own identity and the future she intended to carve out. They hastily organized the folder, her fingers brushing over the brittle pages, as if each touch could impart strength and clarity. Sarah's thoughts raced through the implications. What if they found her? What if they silenced her, like they had silenced others before? Sarah, Michael broke through her spiraling thoughts. We need to get out of here. If they've got people searching for these files, we can't risk being caught. We can come back later. No, she insisted, the sharpness of her voice slicing through the tension. We have to take the files with us. This is my chance to reclaim my narrative, to own my story. I won't let fear dictate my actions. Michael stared at her, studying her resolve, and she saw a flicker of surprise mixed with admiration. They were no longer just allies in a scavenger hunt. They were partners in a fight against silence, a fight for the truth. Sarah took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. All right, Michael conceded, helping her gather the contents of the folder into a small and weathered briefcase they had brought along. Each piece felt like a growing weight of responsibility, but also empowerment. The folder was no longer just a bunch of papers. It was a weapon in her hands, a means of turning the tide. Outside, the chaos intensified as the distant shouts transformed into clear commands. "Search the area," one voice barked. "They can't be far." Panic clawed at her throat, but Sarah pushed it down. She couldn't afford to give in now. "Let's go out the back," she suggested, already making her way toward a small exit that led to an alley behind the warehouse. Quietly, they tiptoed, darkness wrapping around them like a comforting shroud. As they slipped through the door, a light flickered above them, illuminating the damp concrete with an eerie glow. The hidden structure of this place felt protective, yet Sarah's heart raced with the knowledge that the world outside was ready to confront her. Their escape route led them deeper into shadows, but the thrill of the chase began igniting a spark within her. Sarah turned to Michael. "If we play this right, we can expose the entire network my father was part of. This could be bigger than we ever anticipated." "Hold on a minute," he said, panic sharpening his tone. "We need to make sure we're safe first, then we can strategize about the story. We can't waste this chance, but we also can't be recklessly ambitious." "I've been reckless my entire life," Sarah challenged, the words spilling out with fierce sincerity. "This is the moment I reclaim that recklessness for something good." Her words hung between them, a reflection of her transformation, a display of her newfound courage and determination. She had faced the abyss, and now she felt the pulse of possibility surge within her. As they edged around a corner, muffled voices grew louder, threatening to envelop them. This was a true test of her courage and intellect, the stakes higher than anything she had imagined. Sarah's brows knitted in concentration. What steps were necessary to maneuver around the impending confrontation, and how far would she go to protect herself and the truth she was beginning to unveil? "Let's make our next move count," she murmured, already plotting their next steps as the shadows closed in around them. The exhilaration of the chase merged with the dawning realization of the depths of danger they faced. Would they manage to uncover the truth before it consumed them both? The alley stretched out before Sarah like an ominous maw, beckoning yet treacherous. They paused, hearts pounding in sync with the shadows that danced across the cold, wet ground. She turned her focus inward, taking stock of everything she knew, every skill she possessed, and all that was at stake. "Listen," she said, her voice steadier now, underpinned by a newfound resolve. "We can't let fear dictate our next move. If we don't act, we'll lose everything. I need you to trust me." Michael nodded, but uncertainty flickered in his eyes. That trust wasn't unconditional. It was earned, and now more than ever, she recognized the weight of that expectation. Each choice was a step not just toward safety, but toward reclaiming her own narrative, the messy, complicated truth of who she was becoming. As they rounded another corner, Sarah's mind raced through the skills she developed over years of navigating her tumultuous upbringing. Planning, strategizing, and adapting had always been crucial for survival. Each memory sparked nerve endings of innovation within her. She considered the files cradled protectively in the briefcase. This was no longer merely about self-preservation. It was an opportunity to confront the toxic legacies of her past. "What if we go through that building?" she suggested, gesturing toward a derelict structure a few yards away. "It'll give us cover, and we can plan our next steps inside." "That's risky," Michael cautioned. "What if they're already looking in there?" "It's just as risky standing out here. Trust me," she urged, her voice firm. The glimmer of authority caught him off guard, but her intensity grabbed hold of his hesitance. They moved quickly, slipping through a broken door that led into a dim, dust-laden room. The air inside felt stagnant, thick with the remnants of time and secrets. Sarah surveyed her surroundings, her senses heightened. Old wooden crates lined the walls, and the scattered debris hinted at a carelessness that reminded her of her father's life, a life built on neglect and deception. "Here," she said, motioning toward a pair of crates stacked precariously in the corner. "We can hide and plan our next move." Once they settled into their makeshift refuge, the fleeting panic of being discovered faded momentarily, replaced by a clarity that shone through the dark uncertainty. "We need to figure out how to expose the full extent of what my father was involved in," she pressed, a determination burning unquenchably within. Michael watched her closely, the gears visibly turning in his head. "Do you really think people will listen? This isn't just a minor scandal. It shakes the very foundations of trust in your father's world." "I believe they will listen if we present irrefutable evidence, as these files suggest. The truth is our greatest asset. We can pitch it as a major investigative report." Each word felt like a pebble cast into still water, sending ripples of excitement coursing through her. But the reality of their situation soon surfaced. How could they safely disseminate information without jeopardizing their lives? Who would be their allies? Those questions loomed above her like storm clouds, threatening to drown her newfound resolve. "Your instincts are sharp," Michael admitted, "but we need connections, people who share our mission and can offer protection." It was a challenge, one that forced her to reckon with her previous lack of ties and reliance on familial connections that had ultimately betrayed her. Sarah felt the weight of that realization. She had once shied away from connections, believing them to be fragile. The currents of danger coursing around them now pushed her toward reinvention, a call to build a network of her own. "Let's reach out to journalists, activists, anyone who will take this seriously," Sarah said, her heart racing as hope ignited. "If we can get any leverage, we could expose the network as a whole." Michael nodded, his expression shifting from caution to respect. The fire in her words inspired him, and she could see it, a light in the depths of despair. "All right, we'll need to move quickly," he added, "and you'll need to hone your pitching skills. Can you handle that?" Sarah grinned for the first time. Amidst the chaos, feeling the thrill of growth and expansion. "Absolutely, I'll turn this into something they can't ignore." As they crafted their plan, determination climbed within her chest, buoyed by the anticipation of the fight ahead. Yet, somewhere deep down, unease lingered. The impending confrontation loomed, promising upheaval that could lead to either victory or ruin. Just then, a noise from outside shattered the fragile bubble they'd created. Footsteps echoed too close for comfort, drawing nearer with a menacing certainty. "Listen," she whispered urgently, holding her breath as the sound grew louder. The moment of reckoning felt imminent, and Sarah's body tensed instinctively. Would they serve as the instruments of truth, or would their quest end not in resolution, but in entrapment? The shadowed intensity of the moment begged the question: who would emerge unscathed when the dust settled? As the footsteps drew closer, Sarah's heart raced, each beat sounding like a countdown to potential disaster. The weight of the briefcase pressed heavily against her thigh, and she couldn't shake the feeling that everything hinged on their next move. "Stay quiet," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The air around them thickened with tension as the sounds of bustling activity drifted through the walls of the dilapidated building, underscoring the magnitude of what was at stake. In that moment of quiet panic, Sarah felt every part of her life coalescing into this one defining choice. She was no longer the timid daughter shackled by her father's choices. The struggle she had faced, an oppressive legacy of secrets and dishonesty, had transformed her. She wouldn't cower in fear, she would fight back. Suddenly, the door creaked open, flooding their hiding spot with a sliver of light. The silhouettes of uniformed figures appeared, their faces obscured in the shadows. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, yet amidst it, Sarah felt a stirring of clarity. This was not just a moment of survival, this was her proving ground. "Now," she signaled to Michael. In synchrony, they darted behind the crates, dwarfed by their confinement yet emboldened by their resolve. The officers, detection in their eyes, authority in their posture, began to pull at the corners of the room, inspecting the debris that lay scattered across the floor. With each hushed breath, Sarah considered her options. They had to outsmart the very men tasked with maintaining the status quo, men who would likely do anything to keep the truth buried. In her mind, a plan began to form, one that required precision and cleverness, honed from years of evading suffocating scrutiny. Yet it wasn't only about escape, it was about liberating herself from her father's shadow. She had to leverage what she knew. The files contained not just damning evidence of her father's deals, they also offered insight into a web of corruption that ran deep, implicating more than just her family. Time ticked away with agonizing slowness, allowing her thoughts to crystallize into a coherent speech she would need to deliver to a journalist, an activist, someone poised to amplify her findings into the spotlight. "If we can distract them," she whispered to Michael, "I can slip outside and call for help." He nodded, respect gleaming in his eyes. "What's your plan?" "Let's draw their attention away from us. I'll create a noise, something to lure them from this spot long enough for us to escape." He quirked an eyebrow, a glint of surprise sparking in his gaze. "All right, lead the way." With no time to waste, Sarah seized an old metal pipe lying amongst the refuse. Gritted teeth and adrenaline coursed through her, fueling her determination. She swung it against a nearby crate, producing a deafening crash that reverberated in the confines of the warehouse. "Hey, over here!" A voice barked from outside, and Sarah's stomach dropped. The officers turned, urgency flashing across their faces as they rushed toward the noise. "This is our chance," she breathed, steeling herself as Michael followed her lead. They slipped past the doorway, adrenaline surging as they darted into the outside night, breathless and unencumbered. "Now what?" Michael asked, glancing around the dimly lit street as if there were shadows lurking in wait. "Find somewhere safe, and I'll make the call," Sarah asserted, confidence replacing the fear that once held her captive. They found a nearby alley where she fished out her phone, hands trembling yet resolute. Her fingers danced across the screen, finding the contact of a former journalist known for exposing white-collar crime. "Trust me, this is going to change everything," she said, her voice now steady as adrenaline fueled her actions. As the phone rang, she stared into the abyss of her father's legacy, understanding she was more than a passive witness, she was an active agent of change. The line clicked, and a familiar voice answered. "Hello?" "Jack, it's Sarah Thompson," she breathed, her heart racing. "I have something that needs to be investigated, an extensive web of corruption tied to my father's business dealings. It's worth millions, and it goes deep." "What?" Jack's voice was incredulous. "Sarah, are you serious?" "I've got files. We can expose everything, but we need to do it now, before they find out I'm coming for the truth." Each word resonated with the gravity of her transformation, echoing through the darkness like a declaration of her newfound agency. In those moments, she realized how far she'd come, from doubt and fear to clarity and action. The fear of exposing her father's legacy now paled in comparison to the strength she found within herself. As Jack agreed to meet her, Sarah felt a distinct sense of empowerment washing over her. They ended the call, urgency tying both of them together, and she turned to Michael. "We have our first step to expose this." "Are you ready for what that means?" he asked, his voice serious but laced with encouragement. "I'm ready to reclaim my truth. This is more than about exposing my father's secrets. It's about reshaping my destiny." The fire within her burned brighter than ever. She felt like a force, finally in control of the narrative she was meant to tell. With newfound clarity, Sarah glanced towards the horizon, a dawning promise radiating through her. She would not only confront her father's legacy, but she would emerge triumphant, illustrating how resilience could redefine her existence. "Let's go," she said, strength radiating from her very being as they stepped beyond the shadows that had once loomed over her life. This was her moment. No longer a daughter caught in the web of her father's deceit, but a woman determined to forge her path, ready to expose the truth and embrace an identity built on strength, justice, and the palpable fire of transformation. The chase for truth had just begun, and she was ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Now, it is time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support is crucial. Comment below your reactions and theories about Sarah's journey and what you think will happen next. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.